To obtain more notary knowledge, explore the full collection of books by Derek Spruill and find the perfect book for your notary business. Visit any online bookstore, Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble Bookstore, booksofmillion.com, bookshop.org, Mobile Notary by DerekSpruill.com, or download from Kindle to obtain your essential notary book to help with all your notarization starting today.
Welcome to Notary Knowledge, the show where we give you the tools to elevate your professional game. I am Eddie Montez Travis.
And I am Marilyn Lee Trotter.
And today we are exploring something that honestly blew my mind when I was looking through the sources. So imagine spending thousands of dollars on this, bulletproof, multi-million-dollar estate plan, right?
Right.
Only to have your entire family's legacy completely nullified just because someone forgot to use a notary stamp.
It is terrifying. I mean, it really is the great vulnerability of the whole system.
Yeah, and get this, over the next decade, we are looking at a projected $84 trillion changing hands between generations. $84 trillion.
That is just a staggering amount of wealth.
It is. And right now, looking at the operational manuals and state statutes we have, a massive chunk of that wealth is vulnerable to, a single missing signature.
Because you can hire the absolute best legal mind in the country, to draft this brilliant wealth transfer strategy. But the execution of those documents at the signing table, that is the Achilles heel. A minor defect, or like an unnotarized affidavit, or even an unqualified witness that can expose a family to catastrophic, drawn-out probate processes.
And the data on that is wild. An improper execution on just a standard $1 million estate can easily trigger combined statutory attorney and executor fees of around $46,000.
Yep, 46 grand, just gone.
Poof, because someone missed a dateline.
Which completely defeats the entire purpose of doing the estate planning in the first place, right? I mean, you are trying to avoid the courts, avoid the fees, and keep the transfer private.
Exactly. So today our mission is to really explore this high-stakes ecosystem of estate planning execution. We are unpacking the anatomy of a comprehensive trust package, so you know exactly what's on the table.
And we are definitely navigating the absolute chaos of state-by-state legal minefields.
Oh, the chaos is real. Plus, for the professionals tuning in, we are looking at the legacy niche, dominating estate plan packages. We'll reveal the highly lucrative blueprint for mobile notaries who want to transition from chasing those $15 retail stamps into high-earning, business-to-business certified notary trust delivery agents.
Because the industry is experiencing a massive evolution right now. The old model of just finding whoever has a notary stamp to quickly sign these life-altering documents that's dying out.
Thank goodness.
Right. It's being replaced by a demand for specialized professionals who actually understand the gravity of what they're witnessing.
Real quick, before we get to the weeds, I do want to remind everyone listening to check out the Notary Knowledge books by Derek Spruill.
Oh, absolute must-reads.
Yeah, and visit the Notary Knowledge website. Also, check out our video podcast, No Notary, and you definitely don't want to miss Marilyn's 90 seconds of notary.
Short, sweet, and packed with value.
Exactly. All right, so looking at this massive package of estate documents, it kind of reminds me of a custom-built, high-performance sports car, right?
Okay, I like that analogy.
You hire this elite attorney, and they are the master mechanic. They build this incredible, finely tuned engine designed specifically to bypass probate court and mitigate taxes.
Yeah.
But the notary, the person sitting across from you at your kitchen table, coordinating the signatures, that person is the key turning the ignition.
That is a perfect way to visualize it. Because without flawless execution, that high-performance vehicle never leaves the garage. It is just an incredibly expensive paperweight sitting on your desk.
Just a stack of paper.
Exactly. The theoretical defense against probate only becomes a practical defense when the physical execution of those documents satisfies these rigorous, highly specific statutory requirements.
Which is why you, the listener, really need to understand this. Whether you are a notary looking to scale a business into this legacy niche, or an attorney trying to streamline operations, or just someone protecting your own family's assets, you simply cannot afford to be ignorant about this final mile.
Absolutely. So to really grasp why the execution process is a literal minefield, we have to dissect the package itself. It is never just one piece of paper.
Right.
It is a highly coordinated system of financial, medical, and property transfer documents, all designed to function in total harmony.
Okay, let's look at the anatomy of this bulletproof plan. From the sources, the absolute foundation, the bedrock of the whole thing is the revocable living trust.
Yes, the revocable living trust is the operational center of gravity. At its core, it is a fiduciary agreement. It allows the creator, who you'll see referred to as the settlor, the grantor, or the truster.
Lots of names for the same person.
Right. It allows them to maintain complete, unrestricted control of their assets during their lifetime. So you can buy, sell, or trade anything in the trust while you are alive.
But the real magic trick happens when you die, or, if you become incapacitated.
Crucially, yes. It facilitates an expedited, court-free transfer of those assets to your beneficiaries. The trust is technically a separate entity that survives you.
Ah, okay.
Because the trust owns the assets, not you personally, there is nothing for the probate court to distribute. It bypasses the public court system entirely, assuming it's executed legally, of course.
And that public aspect is huge, I think. Because probate is a totally public process, right?
Completely public.
Anyone with an internet connection can see exactly what you owned, how much debt you had, who got what. The trust protects your family's privacy.
It does, but that creates a practical hurdle. To use the trust in the real world, you can't be handing over a 50-page document containing all your private family drama every time you open a bank account.
Right. The teller at the bank does not need to know that your nephew gets 30% of the estate, but only if he stays out of jail.
Exactly. Which brings us to the second document in the binder, which is the Certificate of Trust.
The VIP pass.
Yes, it's essentially your VIP pass. It's a short, summarized document, typically just a few pages. It proves to banks that the trust legitimately exists, it identifies the trustees, and outlines their legal powers.
Without showing who gets what.
Right. It gives the institution everything they need legally without disclosing the dispositive terms.
Okay, so we have the trust as the vault, and the certificate is the VIP pass. Next up is the pour-over will. Now, this is a really fascinating mechanism.
It really is.
Because a normal will just lists out your assets, and it basically guarantees a trip to probate court. But a pour-over will does something entirely different.
It acts as the ultimate safety net. We are human. We make mistakes. Let's say you set up this beautiful trust, but 5 years later you buy a boat and you just forget to title it in the name of the trust.
Oops.
Right. If you die, those assets are technically outside the trust. A pour-over will essentially says to the probate judge, hey, if I accidentally left anything out, take those orphan assets and pour them over into my trust.
But just to clarify for everyone, those orphaned assets still have to go through probate to make that jump, right?
Yes, unfortunately. They have to pass through the court's hands to get into the trust bucket. But once they are in, they are distributed according to the trust's private rules rather than the state's default inheritance laws.
That makes sense.
And additionally, and this is absolutely vital for anyone with a young family, the pour-over will is the specific instrument used to nominate legal guardians for minor children.
Oh, because you can't put a human being into a trust.
No, you cannot. You can put a house in there, but not your kids. The court needs a will to formally appoint that guardian.
Okay, so that covers after death. But a huge chunk of this binder is dedicated to what happens if you are alive but unable to make decisions. The incapacity tools.
Very important.
Let's start with the financial durable power of attorney, or POA.
The financial durable POA empowers an agent, someone you deeply trust, to manage your financial affairs if you cannot. Banking, real estate, paying your taxes. And the word durable is doing a massive amount of heavy lifting here.
Let's unpack that. Let's explore that, because it's a huge distinction.
Well, under old common law, a standard power of attorney became invalid the exact moment the principal became mentally incompetent.
Which is when you need it most.
Exactly. The logic was, if you couldn't make decisions yourself, your agent shouldn't be able to either. A durable power of attorney is a modern legal creation specifically designed to survive or even go into effect upon your incapacity.
And there's a huge tactical choice here between an immediate POA and a springing POA. The sources show this is where a lot of real-world friction happens.
It is a classic battle between psychological comfort and practical reality. A lot of clients opt for a springing POA. It says, my agent only gets this power if 2 independent physicians certify in writing that I am mentally incapacitated.
Because it feels safer. You aren't giving up control today.
Right. But in a crisis, let's say you're in a bad car accident and in a coma. The mortgage needs to be paid.
Yeah, your spouse has to track down doctors, get formal letters, and convince a paranoid bank legal department that the springing condition is perfectly met.
It can cause devastating weeks-long delays. An immediate POA, on the other hand, grants the power the second you sign it. You just put it in a safe and tell your agent where it is.
And the sources point out an execution trap here for notaries. Certain hot powers, like the ability to modify the estate plan or make gifts, often require the signer to separately initial specific paragraphs.
Yes.
If the notary is rushing and misses those initials, the agent just doesn't have those specific powers.
It's a perfect example of how a missing stroke of a pen neuters the legal strategy. Next in the suite is the healthcare directive, sometimes called a living will. This designates a medical surrogate and outlines your specific end-of-life preferences.
Like, do you want a feeding tube, a ventilator, organ donation?
Exactly. It takes that agonizing burden of choice off the shoulders of your grieving family.
And tied directly to that is the high pay authorization. This allows doctors to actually talk to your family. But there's a trap here that honestly shocked me. The high pay release must explicitly state an expiration timeline.
This catches people constantly. Under federal law, if a high pay authorization doesn't specify an expiration event or date, it is often deemed invalid. Usually, attorneys draft them to expire 2 years after the patient's death.
But if that timeline is missing, the hospital just rejects it.
They will. Healthcare providers are terrified of federal privacy fines. Picture your spouse standing in the ICU holding this document, and the hospital says, "Sorry, there's no expiration date. We can't tell you anything."
Wow. One missing sentence and you're locked out. Okay, so we've got the trust, the will, the POAs, the healthcare directives. Finally, we have the funding tools. Because an unfunded trust is basically just expensive paper.
This cannot be overstated. Think of a trust like a high-tech, impenetrable safe.
Yeah.
It only protects what you actually take the time to put inside it. If you sign a brilliant trust document but never actually transfer the title of your house into it, the house goes to probate.
So the package includes trust transfer deeds or quitclaim deeds to legally move real property.
Correct. And depending on the state, there are secondary forms to prevent accidental tax bills. Like in California, these deeds must have preliminary change of ownership reports or PCORs.
Right, to tell the county, hey, I'm just moving this from my left pocket to my right pocket. Don't hike my property taxes.
Exactly. It claims the legal exemption.
But hold on, if I can just go to an online legal website and print a standard trust for $99, aren't people getting scammed paying an attorney thousands for this?
It is a fair question. But the hidden costs of DIY planning are astronomical. The documents are only half the battle. The real value is ensuring the trust is properly funded. Attorneys prepare those specific county deeds, guide you through retitling accounts, and critically ensure every document is executed in strict compliance with the law.
The online sites just email a PDF and say, good luck.
And every day, people almost always get it wrong. They sign in the wrong place, use the wrong witness. The attorney is selling you the outcome, a peaceful transition, not just the paper.
Makes sense. Okay, it is time for a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we're jumping into our Money Making Monday segment where we talk about why these multi-signature packages justify higher flat rates, and we'll get into the chaos of state-by-state execution. Don't go anywhere.
And we are back.
All right, welcome back to Notary Knowledge. Let's get right into our Money Making Monday focus. We've established getting the ink on the page is important, but crossing state lines to do it, that is a logistical nightmare.
You have to remember why the rules are so strict. These documents completely bypass the court system. Because a judge isn't overseeing it, legislatures require strict formalities to prevent fraud and forgery.
It creates a massive execution minefield. Every state has unique rules. It's like playing legal twister, where the rules change based on which state's dot you step on. Let's look at Florida, for example.
Oh, Florida is extremely restrictive. Executing a living trust or a POA requires not just a notary, but 2 witnesses every single time.
For trust?
For the trust and the POA. And furthermore, remember that springing POA we discussed? Florida law simply does not recognize them.
Wait, really?
If you try to execute a springing POA in Florida, it's generally considered invalid. They require immediate powers. They decided proving incapacity is too fraught with delay, so they just eliminated the option.
Wow. Okay, what about California?
California heavily regulates the fee structure. The state caps the fee a notary can charge per signature at $15. But procedurally, they require a physical rate thumbprint in the notary journal for all real property deeds and POAs.
Like an actual ink thumbprint?
Yes, it is a powerful deterrent to real estate fraud.
That's intense. And, looking at some real-world scenarios from our community, it's fascinating how this plays out. Like Clara in Oregon. She actually started incorporating thumbprints into her workflow for high-stakes packages, even when it wasn't strictly mandated, just as an extra layer of biometric security to offer her attorney clients.
That is exactly the kind of premium, white-glove thinking that sets a certified trust delivery agent apart.
Totally. Okay, let's jump to New York.
New York caps the notary fee at a mere $2 per signature, which makes the retail model almost impossible. But the execution formalities are incredibly dense. A New York POA must strictly comply with the 2021 General Obligations Law, Article 5B.
What does that mean in practice?
It requires a notary acknowledgement plus 2 disinterested witnesses. And for healthcare proxies, they cannot be signed before a notary alone. They explicitly require 2 adult witnesses.
Endless variation. Texas prohibits electronic witnessing for core estate tools, and the trust must be in a physical writing. And North Carolina allows emergency video notarization, but that sunsets in 2026.
The physical presence requirement is still the gold standard in many states.
So what happens when these rules are violated?
The industry calls it estate leakage. Assets leak out of the trust and fall into probate due to execution errors.
The sources give a fascinating example of this with the one and the same affidavit. Let's play this out. Say a client, Mary Smith, bought her house 30 years ago under her maiden name, Mary Jones. Her new trust is under Mary Smith.
So the attorney drafts a deed to move the house to the trust.
The notary comes out, she signs it, it goes to the county.
But the county clerk looks at the old deed and says, "Who is Mary Smith? The owner is Mary Jones." Rejected.
Because the chain of title is broken.
Precisely. To fix it, the attorney drafts a one and the same affidavit. Mary swears under oath she is the same person.
And here's the trap. If the notary just acknowledges the signature, instead of administering a formal oath a jurat where she swears under penalty of perjury,
the county rejects the affidavit. The deed is rejected. If Mary passes away, that property is trapped outside the trust, bleeding thousands in probate fees, all because one affidavit had the wrong notarial wording.
Terrifying. But even if you navigate the rules, none of that ink matters if the person signing doesn't know what year it is. Which brings us to capacity assessments.
The most basic requirement is twofold. The signer must be alive and mentally competent.
I love how one source noted you can't use a Ouija board. You have to be breathing. But mental competency is where the rubber meets the road.
The notary's role shifts here. They are no longer a passive administrator. They become an active risk manager, a contemporaneous witness.
But I hear notaries thinking, I'm not a neurologist. How am I qualified to make a medical determination?
It is a critical distinction. The notary is not making a medical diagnosis. They are acting purely as a witness to the signer's behavior, orientation, and voluntariness in that specific moment.
Right, an assessment of the moment. Like, do they know what they're signing?
Exactly. Are they being forced? The safeguards are intense. Assessments must be done in a quiet room, completely free from family members.
So if a son is hovering, pointing where his elderly mother should sign the document, giving him all the money.
Massive red flag. The notary must clear the room. Ask the mother alone, are you doing this of your own free will? And then document every single detail in their journal.
Because that journal is the ultimate defense against probate litigation later on.
Exactly.
And it reminds me of a scenario with Eva in Colorado. She arrived at a signing, and she actually noticed that the signer was wearing 2 completely different shoes and a heavy winter coat in the middle of July.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she used her training to pause the signing, cleared the room, and asked some basic orientation questions. It turned out the signer was severely disoriented and experiencing an episode. She had to halt the execution. That observation saved the estate from a massive legal battle down the road.
That is incredible risk management. And when you move into medical facilities, the anxiety about capacity goes through the roof. If a signer is in a Nevada care facility, a medical professional must provide written certification of competency.
And in California nursing homes, an ombudsman must be present for healthcare directives.
They provide an extra clinical legal layer of defense.
So the stakes are high, the rules are complex, which brings us to the business evolution. Law firms can't rely on standard retail notaries for this. This is the legacy niche.
Right. It opened a highly lucrative market gap. The traditional retail notary is chasing $15 signatures, competing on price. The Certified Notary Trust Delivery Agent, the CNTDA, operates on a white-glove B2B concierge model.
They charge a single flat-rate package fee, $150 to $300 or more.
It completely changes the economics.
It's the difference between a fast food drive-thru and a private chef. But why is an attorney willing to pay $250 when they could find someone on Yelp for $50?
Look at law firm economics. Attorneys are moving to tiered flat fee pricing. $2,000 for a basic package, $4,000 for custom.
And they capture higher margins that way.
Yes. So if they collect a $4,000 flat fee, they are highly motivated to protect that margin. If a cheap retail notary messes up a deed, the paralegal spends 5 unbillable hours fixing it.
That cheap notary vaporized the profit margin.
Therefore, the attorney happily pays a premium flat rate to a dedicated mobile vendor. They bundle the cost into their fee. They are paying for the absence of friction and risk.
And that flat fee absorbs travel, witness coordination, and printing on high-speed dual-tray laser printers, which the sources say is critical for legal formatting.
If you print a legal-sized document on standard paper, the county will reject it for margin compliance.
So multi-signature packages absolutely justify higher flat rates. This is why Money Making Monday focuses on this niche. But how does an everyday mobile notary, especially an introverted one, get their foot in the door with busy attorneys?
The $7 marketing plan, it is a masterclass in low-cost B2B prospecting.
Let's break it down. Step 1.
Spend $1 on a custom domain and $6 for a professional email workspace. Ditch the generic Gmail or Yahoo.
Right. Nobody wants to hire NotaryGirl88 at yahoo.com for a $10 million estate.
Exactly. Next, digital prospecting. Build a Fab 100 list using LinkedIn. Find estate planning attorneys in your area.
Then what? A massive generic email blast.
No, absolutely not. You use the 2 and 5 strategy. Spend 5 minutes researching their digital footprint to find 2 relatable, respectable things about them.
Did they win an award? Publish an article.
Right. No autobiographies in your outreach. Use those details to write a highly personalized email.
And the follow-up.
The 3-1-4 cadence. Initial email, then follow up 3 days later, 1 week later, and 4 days after that.
But the genius part is the referral list.
The ultimate value-first approach. Build a list of CPAs, financial advisors, then ask the attorney, I am looking for highly qualified attorneys to add to my referral list, open to a chat.
It shifts the power dynamic. You aren't begging for work, you are a peer offering value. And this is why introversion is a superpower here, right?
Totally. Introverts excel at thoughtful, asynchronous communication. Attorneys don't want a loud salesperson, they want a meticulous partner.
Okay, you get the business.
Yeah.
Now you have to deliver. Let's look at advanced logistics. Care facilities.
The biggest hurdle is the witness requirement. Facility staff and attending physicians are legally prohibited from acting as witnesses.
So if a notary just asks a nurse in the hallway,
The nurse says no and the signing collapses. A premium CNTDA brings their own verified disinterested witnesses.
which is brilliant. And, we had a scenario with Felix in Utah where he actually teamed up directly with a wealth planner to coordinate these witnesses in a seamless way for high net worth clients. It added so much value.
Collaboration is key.
What about multi-jurisdictional split signings?
Parent in California, kids in New York and Texas. The CNTDA acts as a single point of contact, utilizing a nationwide network to coordinate simultaneous signings, ensuring New York complies with Article 5B, California gets the thumbprint.
And we actually saw this with Gavin in New Hampshire. He ran into an issue where the strict order of signing wasn't followed by a previous notary, invalidating a multi-state trust. He had to step in and orchestrate the exact chronological signing order across 3 time zones.
That level of project management is exactly what law firms are paying for. And then there's the post-signing workflow.
The same-day scanbacks.
Yes. Secure digital scanbacks allow paralegals to immediately review the files and begin funding the trust while physical documents are in transit via FedEx.
Oh, and I almost forgot Dominic in Nevada. He had a situation where the county rejected a deed because a retail notary used the wrong color ink. Nevada has very specific rules on black versus blue ink for recording. Dominic's CNTDA training ensured his packages never got bounced for something so trivial.
Exactly. So is the flat fee worth it? Yes. It consolidates tasks, eliminates hunting for retail clients, and provides a steady B2B pipeline.
So we've covered the anatomy of the package, the execution minefield, capacity assessments, and the business blueprint. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a provocative thought. With remote electronic notarization, or RON, gaining traction, how will this highly personal role evolve?
Can a notary effectively assess a signer for undue influence through a webcam?
Right. Can you see if a greedy family member is standing just off camera, threatening the signer? Or will the high-stakes nature of estate planning always demand a physical presence in the room?
It is the technological tension of the next decade. Digital efficiency versus human security.
Definitely something to ponder. Remember, knowledge is power. but execution is everything. Make sure you review your state's specific guidelines. Don't find out your engine is missing a spark plug when you try to start the car.
Great advice.
And hey, if you have questions about anything we discussed today, email your questions to Derek at dereksproul.com. We will try to answer as soon as possible at the end of our shows.
We love hearing from you all.
Big thanks to our team, executive producer Derek Spruill, lead writer Marilyn Lee Trotter, graphics by Eddie Montez Travis, music by Thomas Bynum, and produced by Magnificent Works Business Solutions.
Don't just be listeners of the knowledge, be doers of the knowledge.
This is Notary Knowledge. Until next time.
Fraud is a constant threat to your notary commission. You need a shield. The book by Derek Spruill, Notary Fraud Shield, could provide you with some advice. Learn real-world tactics, notice red flags, and develop refusal strategies to protect your notary commission. Buy your copy of Notary Fraud Shield by Derek Spruill from any online bookstore, Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble Bookstore, booksofmillion.com, bookshop.org, Mobile Notary by DerekSpruill.com, or download from Kindle to obtain your essential notary book to help with all your notarization starting today.